welcome to the Football Show, and Alan Robb is alongside me, Peter Martin. Thomas Jordan of the Sunday Post is with us here in the studio. Heart star Jordan McGee doesn't believe the championship this season will be a three-horse race. Will Celtic be able to hold on to Fraser and Foster and Virgil van Dijk beyond the summer? There's a war of words brewing between Rangers and Dundee United over Charlie Telfer, and Dougie Imrie tells us what it feels like heading back to Hamilton Accies for a second time. Just a few of the topics we'll be discussing this evening. I thought it'd be a little bit more casual, Roughie, as we head into the summer months and the weather just gets better and better.
Yes, myself and Thomas were saying that to ourselves. Obviously you didn't notice it was pouring rain outside. I never saw any sun when I came in, but obviously it must be a different climate.
I'm just driving around till I find it. But
did you have the roof down as well? Did you, and all that rain?
Oh, it was lashing. I've got a great story to tell you about that, by the way. I'll tell you within the programme. But nevertheless, we've got lots to talk about tonight. And of course, one of the topics we'll be discussing is, of course, Dougie Imrie, because Thomas Jordan, he goes back to Hamilton Accies to play in the top flight again.
Yeah, it's amazing when you think he was heading down to League One with Morton, if he'd remained there, and all of a sudden he finds himself a couple of divisions up. So great move for him.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic move for him. And as ever, we like to get into the boot room, and let's speak to Dougie now.
The Boot Room. Peter and Roughie's Football Show.
Dougie, how do you feel about going back? Does it feel like going home?
In a way, it does a lot. You know, I was there before and I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. And like you say, going back, it's going to be just like going home. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's a challenge that I look forward to pursuing.
Yeah, at the weekend, Dougie, I was with the Morton manager, Jim Duffy. They were raising funds for Morton's youth football, and there was an auction item, and there on the canvas was Morton's greatest night of last season, knocking Celtic out of the cup. Was that for you the high point of playing for Morton?
Yeah, probably. You know, obviously it was disappointing last season from everyone's perspective, but like you say, that game at Celtic Park hopefully gave something back to the fans for a disappointing season. But because it's not very often you go to these places and win, especially at Celtic Park or Ibrox.
How significant was Alex Neil in your decision to go back to New Douglas Park?
Yeah, it was a big decision, you know. When I was there, Alex was the captain. Obviously, Billy Reid was the manager then, and he's just a big influence in the whole place, you know. And I'm sure he'll be like that as a manager as well. I've just briefly spoke to him. I've not really had much time to speak to him, but I'm sure it'll work out well, and like I say, hopefully we do well next season.
Obviously, Dougie, everything we were talking about last year was that game at the end of the season at Hamilton. At half time, were you sort of looking about the dressing room, saying to yourself, I need to put in a shift here, you know, while the rest of your mates were struggling a wee bit, and if I do put in a performance in the second half, I might get a wee move?
I think by that time roughly we were 5-1 down, so I don't think it made much difference. But to be fair, it's disappointing the way the season finished. You know, to go to any place and lose 10-2 isn't very good. But over the season, you know, we never really get many breaks, and that's probably what's cost us to be relegated. You know, we couldn't really string a couple of results together, and we were always on the end of 5, 6, 7 game getting beat run. So for that point, it was difficult, but we tried our best to try and stay in the league, but in the end it couldn't happen, you know.
Dougie, it's Thomas Jordan here at the Sunday Post. The news hounding makes me ask you, well, I take it your transfer wasn't signed and sealed prior to that game. It was pretty much a recent move you got rather than one that was early in the season.
No, not at all. You know, I didn't know about it until the last week there. I had a few options. I had Livingston and obviously Morton, and I was pondering over them. And then obviously when I got a call about maybe going back to Hamilton, it was a no-brainer for me. You know, I stayed 2 minutes away from Hamilton, and I enjoyed my time there the last time. So from that point of view, it was a no-brainer for me. And obviously, I'm just delighted to get it over the line.
Dougie, you obviously were at St Mirren, and I was amazed things never worked out for you there. Do you feel as if you've got something to prove now that you're back in the big league?
Yeah, you're probably right, Roughie. Obviously, I was disappointed myself that I never got more opportunities to show what I could do there. And obviously, when I did get an opportunity, I seemed to do well. But for some other reasons, I never got enough opportunities that I would have liked. But like you say, yeah, I've probably got a point to prove, and it's one that I'm looking forward to.
I don't think you'll be surprised that Hamilton, I'm almost certain with the bookies, will be favourites to go back down. But the manager's certainly been busy in the transfer market. He's brought in a few players today, Dougie. Yeah,
that's the thing. Obviously last season, obviously playing against them and watching a few games when I never had a game at Morton, they were excellent. The young kids that are coming through have obviously knuckled in and done well this last season. But obviously next season, the back up into the SPL, it will be a bit difficult. Obviously you're playing against better opposition and better players. But like I said, they've had another 30-40 games under their belt, so they'll be up for it as well. But I'm sure Alec and his staff will be wanting to stay in the league and finish as high up as they can.
And for you now, what's the immediate future? Is it a wee break, get your chance to recharge the batteries, have a holiday?
Well, just when you say I'm going away tomorrow, but I'm just back. I was away in Vegas last week for a week, and I'm going away to Tenerife tomorrow. So like you say, yeah, just go away, relax, and then when I come back, get into the hard work.
Tenerife's a place where there's a lot of foam parties. I don't think you'd be partaking in that thing. The last thing I need is you jumping about in the middle of a party like that.
Nah, there'll be no foam parties. More tan for me.
Okay, I was just about to say, he's openly admitting he's vain, Thomas. Brilliant. Dougie, listen, enjoy the break, and we'll see you at the start of the season.
No worries, thanks again.
Top man Dougie Imrie there, and delighted that he got a move back up to the top flight. I still think he's got a good few years of playing in the top flight, Roughie.
Yeah, as I said, when St Mirren took a chance on him when the first 2 or 3 games he played, I thought that was the style of football that St Mirren were playing. He was direct, quality balls into the box, and any decent striker will tell you, when you've got somebody like that, firing balls in, it's a great help. And I'm just amazed that it never worked out for him, and I'm surprised he obviously dropped down the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned the players. I feel sorry for Kevin Cuthbert. He's been let go. They brought in Michael McGovern, and also, apart from the fact that Alec Neil has signed a deal, Thomas Jordan, he's got Kieran McDonald from Clyde.
Yeah, he's been busy. The one I have to say, I really feel sorry for Kevin Cuthbert. I was speaking to him in the Midsunder playoff battle when I think they were just preparing to play Hibs, and he was so excited. I think, is it over 10 years?
Yeah, 13 I think.
13 years spending your career trying to get into the top flight to finally achieve it and then get shown the door. It just shows you football, cruel game at times.
Yeah, gutted for him. And, he was a good shot stopper. I'm sure Kevin will get another club, Roughie.
Well, I was surprised, Peter. There's no doubt about that. As Thomas just said there, he'd put in a great shift at the club, and he was pivotal to everything they did last year. I think everybody remembers the saves that he made and everything, and I'm sure it won't be long before he gets another club.
Yeah, absolutely. Roughie, can you take us quickly down your World 11? Because I know the greatest ever World 11. Give us your 11 right now.
Yes, well, obviously, I go back a wee bit for the goalkeeper. Dino Zoff in goal, Carlos Alberto at fullback, Franz Beckenbauer in the middle with Bobby Moore, Maldini the other fullback, 3 in midfield, Cruyff, Platini and Ronaldo, and Messi playing off the front 2 of Maradona and Pele.
Yeah, you've changed that since last week. I cannot believe it. And don't tell anyone, right? But after the break, I'm going to out you because you've changed one of your men, and I'm sticking with that man.
No,
don't make
any good manager will tell you.
Yeah,
if you have to change things very quickly when things are going pear-shaped.
Absolutely, but I would say right now to everyone who's watching and listening to the show, your change is an act of treachery for Scotland. That's all I'm telling you, Roughie, because I remember your World 11 from last week.
Too, then.
Well, you've changed. Well, don't dig yourself out of it, because
he's also changed the formation. He's only picked 11 players instead of the 12 we started last week.
Last week.
I'm the manager. It's my team.
Okay, we'll hear yours, Thomas. I'll give you my all-time World 11, and then this week, Roughie, on the programme, as we get ever closer to the kick-off of the World Cup, which I cannot wait for, then we will obviously discuss our top 11 from the teams taking part. So you've got to pick the best players that you think from all the teams taking part in the World Cup. Certainly looking forward to that. We'll have the golden years coming up in the next section of the programme. We'll have the Tigers football headlines as well, and more chat because there are stories emerging minute by minute. We'll get Thomas Jordan's reaction to it and yourself, Roughie, and have more football talk coming up next.